Hey, the big monkey. Weird offshoot, and you can ask Gary this. For some reason, the whole time we were doing that, every voice actor in Vancouver just started doing Gary's voices. Hey, this is what Gary Jones does. Gary! And now Gary does it. Don't ask me where that one came from. Okay, so we're going to try to get people quick.
When auditioning for all the roles, did you realize you were going to get 4, or were you hoping to get as many as them?
You know what? I mean, I'm a mercenary, like, as an ex-girlfriend, I'm a polyphonic prostitute. I will make sounds for money. And, like, nobody for a while, it was like, you don't want to audition after Scott, because he's going to be in there for like half an hour, because he reads for everything. The more spaghetti you throw at the ball, the more you all got a chance of something sticking. But I auditioned for all of them. Good guys, bad guys. And it was actually a time where I wasn't working much, and I was going like, oh my God, what? And then I got a phone call. I was on ferry over to go see friends of mine that live on an island, and all of a sudden the phone rings, it's my agent going, yeah, so that Beast Wars thing, you booked 3 characters on it. I was like, oh, what? So yeah, Dynamite, Red Trap, Waspinator. I was like, I'm not poor anymore. And you know what? I mean, from the get-go, in all honesty, I've done a lot of cartoons. We all have one. There was something about, we knew just going into it, I went, this one's going to be, we all kind of knew that this was going to be something special. And that really ended up happening. And I'm always full props to like Larry and Bob. The script, the stories were amazing. And we got a chance to work on something. And it was also, I mean, overall, the best cast ever to work with. I mean, you're standing in a room with all this talent going like, wow, it was fun. Except I had to stand next to Alec when he was doing Return Exorcist, and I felt dirty. I don't like spiders. So it was a cool phone call to get. And then later, I mean, the last thing I thought would ever happen when they brought 2 new characters in. And I read from both, and I thought it would end up being Quickstrike. I didn't even think about Silverball. And then Murdoch got Quickstrike and was like, yeah, that's perfect, okay. And then they went, yeah, we're going to get you to do Silverball. And I'm like, what? They go, except your audition sucks, so just use your own voice. And I'm like, well, what is that? And we monkeyed around a bit. Monkey, hey, that's a big word joke. And I was going, I'm not. And then I said the word citizen. And all of a sudden, there it was. Strong, proud, brave, and well, smug like a bag of hammers. So that's 2 answers to 1 question. I'll walk out that door if somebody don't ask a question. Hello.
Hi.
You're on roller coasters together.
How was your jerky?
Jerk was actually pretty good. There's a jerky store in the mall.
When you were
The crawfish jerky, it's not made with real crawfish, I'm just saying. But the guy who was running the store, he said that. I thought, you were the most honest salesman in the world.
When you were in the recording room, recording all these voices, was there any scenes that were most memorable to you?
This doesn't involve like accidentally farting or anything like that. I got to have so much fun on that show, you know, all those little fights and stuff. They just let me do it. So it was like 1 take. Everybody else is like, hey, Scott's doing this. So they go get some coffee. But, you know, the Dinobot arc at the end was pretty powerful. And you know, in cartoons, we don't often get a chance to do that. Here's the funny part, folks. Dinobot knew that he was going to die at least 5 episodes before he died. Guess who didn't have a cliff? The rest is silence. Okay, I'm dead. When do I come back?
Oh, you don't start your dead.
Yeah, okay, cartoon dead, right?
Not your dad.
Dead. Dead. Damn! Quarter of my paycheck. And in the meantime, I'm dying, and of course, I'm in a room full of grown men idiots throwing paper balls at me, doing this, monkey ears. Comedy is easy to hate. No, it's the other way around. In drama, to die is simple. Comedy is difficult.
So I'm going to ask you a
Sir,
question.
tell your man in the back.
Oh, me?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So, want to know, what would you call your style of acting, voice acting, acting?
Irritating?
Style?
Cathartic? Therapeutic? I have spent my days in a small padded room screaming. I swear to God. I've been spending my days in a small padded room screaming. I don't know. When I'm able to do what I do best, I literally kind of just step back and let the insanity happen. I've had characters just drop into the middle of a thing, and I'm like, I have no idea who that was. Like, that just happened. And of course, I'm going, I wish I could remember that when I need it later. But my style is kind of weird, and it's not necessarily a very marketable style right now. You know, because very rarely am I ever approached to do just, sort of a real character. So I tend to, I lean into the cartoon. That's just the way I've been since I was a kid, and I grew up with real cartoons and, Warner Brothers and blah, blah, blah. So the voice actors that I admire and grew up respecting and loving were the people you're like, oh my God, that is not all the same person. Yeah, no. That's kind of my style. Some people, they've got one voice, but by God, they're just astonishingly great actors, and they tend to play a lot of the similar characters, but they do it better than anybody. I'm not one of those people. But now the industry's changed a little bit because that kind of diversity is not so much welcome, strangely enough, in the era of diversity. Because they go, well, we can't have an actor playing more than one character. We can't have an actor playing a character that is not, for Bugs Bunny, we're going to have to bring in real rabbits now. Now, Mr. Blank, we love your work, but network has said that we need to bring in some real rabbits. Yeah, the stutter on the, that's fine. So, I don't know, chaotic. When it works best, sometimes it just channels. If I have to think about it, sometimes I just step on my feet and screw it up.
You have a very, very long resume of characters that you've done over the years.
Yeah, I've done some.
Yeah. What is, to you, what would be, to you,
Shiny squirrel, what?
what would be to you your favorite character that you've done? Again, I know
That's
you
a
got a
mean
long
question.
I know it's a mean question.
Because they all pay equally.
Let me tell you this. One of my favorite characters that you've done was Wolverine on Wolverine Cancer.
I appreciate that. Fun fact. As an
Evolution, I'm sorry, yeah.
Wolverine has never once been played correctly.
Really?
Absolutely. I'm from Canada. I've been to northern Alberta where he's from. Nobody's walking around going, hey, let me tell you something. I'm so freaking angry. I mean, they are angry. It's freaking northern Canada. It's like, so fucking buddy, come up over the hill there, right? Fucking give me the eyeball. I snaked out on him. Fucking pull my hockey jersey down. Fucking kick him right in the ass there, bud. Yeah, that's the real Wolverine. Some people would say, you do that, you record it, I will animate it. Wolverine's like, that was one of the coolest phone calls I ever got, too, because, it's like Wolverine. It's not like I created it, but if you're going to get a call saying you're playing this character, it's like, seriously, you booked it, you're Wolverine. I'm like, oh. Yeah, basically, it was like a little schoolgirl. Which could turn into my best part of the studio story, but that's probably for a different day. We're having a very in-depth discussion back here.
I got something for you, Scott. Since you can't make it to my neck of the woods down in Tampa, I'm bringing some Tampa to you.
Everybody hit the floor. Yes, great cheese. Never saw cheese in a can. Thank you.
Too.
My nutritionist loves you. This started as a silly thing. I was doing a panel in Tampa, and somebody said, I think it was starting with like, what would you do for a Klondike bar? And I'm like, what wouldn't I do for a Klondike bar? And so they gave me a Klondike bar. And I'm talking away, and I think somewhere else it was like, you've never had spray cheese? It was like, okay. So somebody brought me a can of spray cheese. And of course, there's cameras rolling. So I suddenly decide, I think I'm going to ruin my life. Do I make bar spray cheese? No! cameras rolling, and it became a thing. So every year it's like, what's the most disgusting thing that we could possibly get Scott to put spray cheese? I'm kind of addicted to this stuff. And you know what? I haven't found anything that was honestly gross with spray cheese. Let's try sardines next year. So that's the spray cheese story. We're gonna introduce Meg.
Okay, first of all, thank you for playing Wolverine. I did not know that was you
You're very welcome.
in my childhood. And second of all, how do you feel knowing, I understand if you don't read the comics, but how do you feel knowing IDW has kind of destroyed the character of Rat Trap by making him seem that he isn't a treacherous little monster?
Who made him that?
The IDW comics, the first part.
You know what? I mean, that's kind of the way the characters. You know, Rat Trap only became Rat Trap the way we know Rat Trap because of the way that we took it on our show, and I don't know. Even if you read the little description card, I think it's quite different than what we ended up with because they gave us a lot of freedom to make it like that. But, you know, if they made it a character where I don't get paid for it, I don't know. I don't have a problem. I can stop anytime. By the way, if you're going to do that with spray cheese, do not do it in Tampa when it's 112 degrees with vitamin A. That shit expands like the bone. Okay.
I have something to put spray cheese on. Put it on ice cream. It'll be bad.
That's how I started it. The Klondike bar. And you know what? They did get a chance. It was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Doritos was pretty good. Yes, I see a hand, a mysterious floating hand. Okay, we'll get to that. Yeah, you. Okay, you got 3 seconds, go. And time's up.
How many times has Dinobot really got annoyed by Rat Trap?
The answer is many. And all the time. Although, you know, you gotta say Rat Trap said some nice stuff when Dinobot died. Made me cry. Nothing like Gary's eulogy, though. That one hurt. That one hit hard. Oh, Gary, ups to you. He was always annoying. Yes.
So were there any lines that you read, like, oh, I have a better one, and you improv'd it and it stuck?
Very rarely, but we did sometimes. Because, again, the writing that they did on the show was so good. You know, it was a pleasure to honor the writers by using the words the way they made them, because they do it for a reason. Sometimes you get an idea and you're just like, oh, I can, and they're like, go for it. The one show that was different than that was Reboot, where Gary and I were playing hack and slash on that. And they just realized that we're both idiots, so they would we would record it once as per the script, and then they just go, do something. Okay, that was funny, so I'll do it again. Do something else. Okay, do something else. You do it like 3 or 4 times, and they find something they liked, and usually use that in the show. I'm not walking in circles. I don't have a problem.
I believe
Judge me! You don't know my pain!
I believe that your genre of your fellow voice actors.
I believe our children are the future.
Indeed.
I believe I can fly.
I think you all were the last set of voice actors that actually worked in studios together. I believe so. But, you know, now it's all, you know, you record separately. And,
Yeah.
you know,
Now, a lot of that is just post-COVID, because people started kind of having to work from their home studios, because we couldn't gather in groups. You will not find an actor of my generation that says, oh, I'd much rather work by myself.
yeah.
You know, because we had so much fun. And one of the reasons that a show like Beast Wars was so good was we're all in the studio and we're acting, we're reacting off each other, we're interacting, it becomes very alive. And it's fun, because we don't have the longest attention span. And so, yeah, and it's, you know, like a lot of anime dubbing. You're just sitting in a room, in a box, trying to make your words fit somebody else's lips. They still do ensemble casting, I think. But I know for my auditions and whatnot, I record from home. David Kay sits in the desert with no pants on, making $100 million. I hope that it's not gone, because that honestly was always the best part of it. I don't think Beast Wars was the last one, but we certainly, we continued doing that right up until everything kind of went crazy.
Serious question.
But it makes it sound cool if we do it.
Right.
Oh yeah.
So I've asked this question to a lot of voice actors, and you know, I'm very interested to see what you think about it. You play a lot of characters.
I have a lot of characters in my head.
And because of that, I want to ask this question.
Okay.
A lot of voice actors, or actors in general, sometimes that character leaves them. That character leaves with them to go home.
Yeah.
They take that character home. What's your detox process if that becomes a serious thing for you?
They're always there. They never leave. A lot of times they want to go to work and leave me behind. Which would be fine. I can get some rest. It'll be quiet in here for a change. I don't know. I get bored and lonely if they're not there with me. Doesn't mean you guys have to be there all the time. I'm just saying. Yeah, I've never had to make sort of a conscious thing of going, okay, just debrief. I'm not actually a rat. Leave the rat in the studio. Stop whittling on people's food. On people's clothes. Sleep at the subway. Be fine. You're stuck. You're not a rat. Well, you know, so yeah, I mean, my process is whatever it is. I try not to think about it too much. Because it's easy to get bogged down, and it's hard to be really creative if you're being some really cerebral at the same time. Unless you're frickin' Da Vinci or something.
There was an episode in season 3 that never got made called Dark Glass. There's a place like Go with the Flow.
Yeah.
I know I never really made it past the script. Did you ever get to read it? Any thoughts would you like to?
Yeah, I would like to do the one where I got paid double, and every character I ever have done in my life came into. I'm less of a mercenary than I sound like. You know what? I mean, we were kind of blissfully unaware of a lot of stuff as we're doing the show. We were just going in and doing the show. So there was all these other various intrigues going on behind it I knew nothing about until I came down and started meeting you guys at conventions. It's like, wow, there's this whole other thing behind Beast Wars. We just initially thought, hey, what a great job. So, yeah, I can't really speculate on what, I guess in hindsight, there's a million ways it could have gone, right? That's the most non-answer answer I've ever heard. Well, you know, I can neither confirm nor deny any rumors that it would always be interesting. You know, because sometimes, you know, the flap of a butterfly's wings, right? If they'd done one thing that changed the story arc in one way, we might have ended up with a completely different universe. Maybe we would have all been in the new Rise of the Beasts movie. I don't know! I've done this before because I'm old and stupid. It's like, well, I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Is there a character that you haven't played but would like to play?
Yes, all of them. I'll tell you my favorite character that's out there right now, because I think it's brilliant and I love it. And if you know me, you know that I've got cells of the character. And this is a shout out to a very great voice actor and actually a fellow Canadian. But if you ask me what we're going to do tonight, I'd say the same thing we do every night. And to take over the world. That's what he's not. He's a super fan. And a super nice guy, too. Yes.
So, okay.
Rachel spells her name weird.
The normal way?
Yeah.
Alright, so if you want to be the brain, who's going to be your pinky? That can help. But yeah, probably needs help.
Would you be my pink? I have no idea. I mean, I would say, well, why not Rob Paulson? It's the best pinky there is. Why mess with perfection? I only have to kill one of them to get the job. That's the funny thing about this business, and I know, I'm telling the Orson story, but he was known for doing a spot-on Orson Welles impersonation.
Yes.
And then when they were casting, they went, hey, can we hear your Orson? And he's like, all right. And they went, done. There he is, there's the plane.
Have you used, like, all those characters you use for these words, have you ever used a character from Transformers to get you another job or to inspire you to do another voice acting?
I thought you were going to say, you ever used a character to get you Guess what? That doesn't work. Do Grumpy Bear for me. I was Grumpy Bear at the same time I was Wolverine. That's why I love my job. Have I used, sometimes people come up and go like, I heard you in this and I knew right away that it was you, and I'm like, crap. But at the same time, musically there's only 12 notes in a scale, right? So there's only so many things you can do. If you're sitting down going, okay, what can I do to make this character different from that character? I said sometimes they just arrive fully formed. When I used to teach, I would go like, you want to assemble a toy box or a toolbox. It's like if you do two voices, a high voice and a low voice, that's great, you got two voices. You know what, say suddenly you go like, suddenly, I'm doing this Manchester accent that I can do tweed. Well, you combine that and now you don't have two, but you'll have four voices. And then, you're sticking a lateral lift, you do something weird like that, and suddenly you don't have four, you've got 8. And it expands exponentially, so that when it comes time to, I try never to think about building a voice, I try to think about the character. But sometimes you just gotta make a voice on the spot. And the more things you can kind of dig around and figure out, if I throw that in there. Wasp Eater happened by accident because Doug Parker's a genius in casting. They go in and all the bad guys, and everyone's going, I'm gonna make all the bad guys. I was doing the same thing. And Dougie went, hey Scott, he was the casting director, I'm Terrasol. He went, you know that little bubble voice you do? I'm like, yeah. He goes, use that. I'm like, it's a prayer card. But, I never said, oh, I'm so cute, but, and what's the president? And it's like, use that. I'm like, okay, I'll take over it and make him a little more sinister. I'm sure we're going to probably because of this whole, wise. Maybe we'll make him a little more wise too. And did that, and then of course went into the studio, and the writers went, McNeil's an idiot, let's make this guy a goofball, and poof, that's where the character came from. Just by being able to kind of just go, hey, throw this in, add that, and put a little dash of boom in there. Rat trap, I'm like, oh, okay, he's a little rat, okay, it's probably from, maybe Brooklyn. Yeah, maybe talks like this, and uses his hands a lot, and both, and there he goes. I don't know if that answered your question at all. I'm not responsible. There's spray cheese coursing through my blood. Coursing through. I got stuck. There we go. Oh, too much information. No, that probably actually just made my hernia pop in exactly the same way. Yes.
Has there ever been a character? Has there ever been? Has there ever?
No. Okay, comedy in threes. That's it.
Has there ever?
I didn't have to do anything.
Has there
Okay,
ever been a
has there
character?
ever been a character? Take 4 and go ahead.
Has there ever been a character that you did not like playing?
No. It's like I was a prophet or something. No, you know what? I mean, I have the greatest job in the world when I'm working. I literally get to go and play for a living. And there's obviously some shows and some characters that are way more fun. But even if you're playing like Hitler, Satan, Dragon Monster, the most despicable thing in the world, if you as an actor are somehow finding enjoyment in that, the character doesn't work. Technically I've played some things that kind of hurt. And occasionally in cartoons or in animation, you go in places that are emotionally a little darker. But it's never not something that you would do without enjoying it. And if the actor isn't enjoying what they're doing, the character isn't enjoyable, I think. And besides, I get paid to play. I'd be an idiot if I said anything other than that. Hi. No! See, 4 times, not funny. 3, funny.
I got one back here though.
Okay.
You said you auditioned for Quick Strike. What was your voice for him?
You know what, because they were very specific about what they act. One of them is like a slim pick. You know, I would have done kind of a weaker version of what Murdoch did. Because he killed it. He killed it. He kills everything he does. He's a genius. Yes.
How would your Beast Wars characters react if they had to be quarantined due to COVID?
No. No. Where's the question?
You drag myself off to isolation. Why does world hate COVID? Why does world hate Weinstein?
Silverbolt, of course, I would wear the mask of the bar. Do it for the people. I should have worked with Washington a bit longer. It's funny. That's a really weird and very good question. The rest is silence.
I gotta say, you know, that did break my heart. The whole when Dinobot, you know, basically put his life on the line for. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I cried when I saw it. I really did, because I watched the show because it was such a good show. Who cares I was in it? We were watching.
Right, it was very
something that was like, the first Botcon I ever did, the first convention I ever did was 98, I think, or 99 in Anaheim, and Code of Hero had just aired. And I had no idea that people watched it, or did things, or anything. Fine, you're still here. Yeah. Well, it just aired, and people were coming up to me, and just like, when we stop, it's a cartoon, right? It's just the thing we did, and then I finally did watch it, and it was like, wow. Yeah. I swear, you know, it's kind of a very humbling way to appreciate that there is some impact to the stuff that we do. It's kind of neat.
We'll put you on the spot for a second.
No. You just did. And I had to act like a human being for a second there.
And I promise, if she watches this, then it's whatever, but who's the best voice director you've ever worked with?
Well, best, you know what, I've worked with some amazing and a lot of like superstar voice directors, to be honest. If I had to say some of my favorites, I could say that certainly what I would call in my top 1 favorite, who's in the building right now. I've been working with Sue for a very long time, and she was like the first. You know, I learned so much about voice acting from Sue, and she's Sue. We had some adventures together back in the day, Susan and I. Oh, yes, we did. Oh, yes, we did. And there's the legend that is Wally Burr. That wasn't always sunshine for us. Wally and I would clash. But we would do like 17, 16, 18-hour sessions. Wow. Normally you can do a cartoon show in about an hour and a half. But Wally would just rewrites, and he would direct and direct and direct. And rewind it to come up like this. We called that a crescendo. Wally turned out to be the biggest rock star I've ever known in my life. He did a thing, we did a con together in Toronto, I think. And he wrote a whole script for this thing between him and I. And then we had a little fist fight behind the table.
The rest of the
Oh, yeah. Dude, he's 92. I just saw him rip about 100 push-ups. And like, I just respect the hell out of it. But when we were working, it got a little tense. Headphones would sometimes accidentally slip off my head and hit the ceiling. Just death, man. And he would do this on the table right by his mic. He'd go, roll it. Get in there and do it like this. But what a legend. And you know, when he found out, just like, I never thought Wally would die. And we really kind of became pretty good friends after. And it's like, and nobody in the world in the history of directing cartoons ever cared as much about a cartoon. Like just endless, like pages of rewrites, the notes in the margins. He put this in because he put his frickin' soul into it. It wasn't like, I don't know, whatever, we'll record this show fast, we can do it and get it out the market. I mean, there's really kind of no bet. These days, you know, sometimes it's a little weird because the clients tend to You know, you got the director in the studio, but literally every line they're like, you know, we go to the clients that are on the phone and the producers, and it's like, okay, what do you guys think? You want, okay, so you want, I don't know if it's as much direct collaboration between the actors and the directors now as it used to be. It's a different world. You, sir!
I forgot my
Oh, come on, you're a pro by now, dude. How many times have we done this? 3 times.
I forgot my question.
Oh, for God's sake. Drink before. Just great cheese. Give him one. Give that good.
I got a dumb question. So, when you're
That's my kind of
recording, when you're recording, do you wear your headphones under your hat or your hat over? Yeah.
I have my studio hat, which has got holes cut in it like a donkey's hat.
Oh my God.
I don't wear this hat in the studio. As a matter of fact, if you're even wearing a ball cap for acoustic purposes, you have to flip it backwards. Because it'll create a little acoustic shield over your face. No tips. No, with the first sessions I did, there's technical things of just how to work a microphone, how to work in a studio. Like, you know, the first day you walk in, it was like, can you remove all the mylar and crinkly stuff and get rid of the bag of chips and take off your dangly jangly earrings and your bracelets and your wrist, your ankle bells, Fatima, because this microphone picks up everything. And yes, we heard you. You know, that is cotton clothes, and you know, I said the other day, it's like people would always be surprised if they came in and watched a session, because you think voice actors stand there and voice act. It's pretty physical. You know, because that's how you know, people go, how do you switch characters so fast? It was like, well, if you watch people that are good at that, they don't just switch the voice. Like the whole thing changes. Except Corlett, who could just stand there with his hands in his pockets and be a genius. But then learning how to be that animated and that active in something, and yet somehow your head has to stay in this place relative to the microphone, so that you're not doing this and all this weird, you know, it's, you know, it was so, and it's still fascinating to me when I work. Because I go, you know, there's so many little aspects to it that, you know, if you watch somebody that's professional, you go like, you know what, I wouldn't even have thought of that. I wouldn't have thought that you need to know how to do that and do this and do that in these weird ways. And that's the stuff that I got to learn from working with people that have been doing it. Like, you know, Gary had been doing it for a while, and I learned a lot from Gary. I kind of go, I'll do that part. I do the intro. I'm answering questions. Are we back?
Yeah, I remember.
Engage the brain, sobered up.
Do you have any Transformers?
The action figures?
Yes.
Yes. I have a whole house full of them. And here's what makes my collection fairly unique. I am most of them. I used to go to like a Target and be like, need it, got it, am it. My nephew, a visitor store, my nephew and I were in a store, probably a Target or something like that. And I think, yeah, it might have been Beast Wars, but a bunch of the shows I used to do, there was a ton of action figures, collectible action figures, some posable, some not, minty in box, on the wall. And we're just goofing around and watching this. It was Beast Wars, recent. And there was a kind of a dad and son there. They were pretty cool. Like, he was a ponytail dad like me. And I'm like, okay. So I just did a little bit like right drop and you know, and it's like this. It was pretty good. I'm like, we're just I just say it again. And so, you know, the world goes on. Because it's like I would have been the biggest dick in the world if I went, don't you know who I am? And besides, he was pretty good, so that's one of those things. He said, why didn't you tell him? I was like, why would I? Besides, he got to walk up with this kid and he just slammed me down in a rat trap. Back home.
You seem kind of like an adrenaline junkie.
No. I resent you implying that I have any kind of an addiction-based personality. I would probably know I want.
What sort of reward do you get when you're like doing these like
Oh my God.
Well, what?
What sort of reward do you get when you're doing like Q&As and live performances or like group?
Pure dopamine. My brain is releasing feel-good chemicals into my head. Strange fun fact, I'm actually more of a very quiet, reserved introvert than I am anything else, which is the joy of acting for me, which is because then I get to be anything that isn't that, you know? And this, for me, is just a substantial and incredible rush. I don't do these, I haven't done con in almost half a decade now. And when you come in, I'm thinking, oh God, I'm back in. And then you guys, and it sounds like I'm sucking up, but the energy that I get from you guys is astonishing. And it's like, I get to wake right up. And now I'm old, so I'm exhausted when it's done. And home, it's like, need sleep, go sleep. No more spreadsheets. You know, so I guess if an adrenaline junkie, probably not much. I'm pretty lethargic. I mostly just study up on the new wordifications of language.
Well, you mentioned a broken neck too, so.
Yeah, you know what? I wish there was a really cool story with that. There it was. Battling my B-29 bomber. Fires of now. We saw that busload of nuns and orphans about to careen into the shark-infested waters. I had no choice but to deploy my flaming parachute. It's taking the tree, and I thought if I can save one kid, I'd rip that parachute off, and I dove head first into the ground, took that first shark out, bam! I tripped and fell down the stairs. And because I'm an idiot and I'm renovating sloth, I didn't happen to have railings on my stairs because I removed them because I was going to do something in the house 20 years ago and I never got around to it. I'm a young dude, I don't need no stupid railings. Broke my neck, fractured my skull, broke my face. That was right in the middle of filming Riverdale. Oh. And because they're gracious and wonderful people, they were like, we're pissed off. I'm sorry. So that's the exciting tale of how Scott.
Just say you wrestle a bear.
Exactly. All right.
Did you say you wrestled a bear?
Absolutely, wrestled a bloody coordinate. It was a drill piece that come out of the trees and it's landed head. You can see him. What's up there now? Crikey! I'm gonna chew my thumb up his cloaca. Or hers. Or theirs.
So you were mentioning your nephew. Do you, like, when you read to, like, the kids or anything like that, if you're reading, like, picture books and stuff, do you add voices to the characters you're reading to them?
That's an interesting question, and it was an interesting observation in my life. When they were little, and now I'm old, I'm a grumble, I've got, like, little micro second generation nieces and nephews. Some of them, they hated it. Because some kids are very literal, like very, very linear minded. And every time I would start to do a voice, they would say, no, that's not, don't read it like that. My oldest nephew or grandnephew, he loves it. He seems to really respond to it. But, you know, he's a little weird like I am. But I found out with a lot of kids, there's a certain age where they're just like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then, you know, hopefully the imagination opens up and then they kind of go. It was fun for my youngest nephew, Rudy, because he was a huge Beast Wars fan. Like he was, you know, my nephew Tyler was like, yeah, we all like being called Beasties in Canada. We love Beasties, but Rudy's obsessed. And he really kind of was. And Rudy was, you know, was like me, right? Kind of a weirdo, nerdy kid at the time. He probably got a little poked and prodded at school. And, you know, I like to think the story went like this. He's like, yeah, well, you know, because the show was really popular. It's like, yeah, my uncle's. He's like, yeah, right then, Pete Red Rudy. So I was like, you know, I'll tell you what, I'll come pick you up from school.
Like Henry Cavill's next had to do the same thing.
So I rolled up in my Corvette. Top down. Rudy's out there. And, you know, the Hollywood version of the story is, right, it's actively getting boogie by a bunch of, you know, frat guys. Maybe exaggerating a little, but he was kind of out with some people. And I pulled up, and I'm like, and he hops in the Corvette, and it's just like, this is the best moment ever. So I got this is my uncle.
Oh, nice to meet you, Bob.
Touch the boy again. then we got to drive off. He might have still got beat up the next day. But anyway, it's constantly going. And if you keep that flow open, that's where you're gonna, because you always have to come up with new stuff too. So
second part, how do you keep track of
down at the
saving,
DMV.
like,
Can I get a license for my personality, please? No, good.
Oh, right. If, how do you keep track of some of the more popular voices?
Extremely powerful medications. Come on, we're all looking at you again. Yes?
Do you have a tally of the total number of voices you did?
I have no idea. Honestly, people have published stuff saying, you know, and people are like, yeah, we're all the same voice. You know, and they are, like Mel Blanc, the man of 1,000 voices. To be, you know, Daffy is just Sylvester Stallone. Tweeted into action. But the personality and the characters were what they did. And, you know, I mean, the guy had a million voices, yes. But there are some notes that are going to be the same.
Do you have the transmetal ospinator?
Yes.
Nice.
Oh, it's going to be Wolverine gets own toy.
I have all the toys. I have a room full of little plastic knees. It's creepy. Yes. Sometimes they talk to me. They tell me to do things. Horrible things. You know what? That's a very good question. And not really. There have been times where, you know, I've done characters that may, you know, use certain words and phrases from other languages. I'm not fluent enough in those languages to do it. Sometimes, yeah, you will learn it phonetically and hope that you're not saying something really offensive in Norwegian. But I've never been hired to, I'm not as fluent a linguist as to be able to be hired to play. You know, a lot of commercials in Canada are shot in both, or recorded in both French and English. Some people can go, yeah, I'm coming to do both. Great, great choice. Me, not so much. Yes? Let's get him. You're going to be the last, you're going to be the last one because you're officially the last one.
Who had a better death scene, Optimus or Dinobot?
I didn't even know Optimus died.
True story, I didn't know Optimus died. It's so sad. Oh, come on, I got to do Shakespeare. That's why I said, he knew he was going to die, me. And last but certainly not least, okay, let's pretend. Look at the stance. All right, that makes Super Bowl.
Let's pretend that Dinobot didn't die in Beast Wars.
Yay, I got paid!
And so, when season 3 rolls around and Black Arachnia joins the Maximals, how do you think he and Dinobot would have gotten along with them both being ex-Predacons and former enemies?
Remember, this was the lightning round, right?
Yeah, but I
these are going to be really simple relationships. They can just give one-word answers. And they go, this guy is a legend. You're talking to a guy that has the toughest time in the world just living in the present as is. And he's like, what would happen if? I don't know. So just to repeat the question. So if Dinobot had lived,
and Black Arachnia joined the Maximals like she did in season 3, and now they're both on the same side, how do you think they would have gotten along, having been former Predacons and former enemies?
and the fact that, you know, Black Arachnia was
Certainly not hard on the eyes. They can certainly remove some float from the picture. Perhaps I would woo her the old-fashioned way. Brutally!
There we go, Romeo, like that's gonna work.
Ladies and gentlemen, Scott Mcneil.
Getting older as a voice actor. He just wrecked his hernia, and now...
But I can't hear you speaking to the hearing aid. My glasses. They're on your head. No, you're not getting me with that one, you rotten kids. Get off my lawn.
Oh my God.
We didn't have no fancy microphones back in the day. You held up the tape and you yelled at it. That's right, tape.
Under the B, 5. Under the C, 8. 9. Thank you for pulling with us today. Why is it that all pilots talk like that? That's 589, 581. Oh, looks like we're gonna crash. So we want you to sit back and relax with us. We know you have a choice. Thank you for flying United. 589, 581. Yeah!
Grab another one while he's picking up the.
Hello. My name is Scott Mcneil. I'm a voice actor. Okay. Hello. The numbers are 589. 5, 8. That's like I'm stuttering. It's 589. 5, 8. I was kind of anticipating a little more bated breath. Maybe eating a bunch of herring kind of bated breath. 2!
All right. Wow.
Your prize is your very own can of amazing easy cheese.
You know what, I would take that.
Cheddar flavor.